Hey everyone, the Potrat here. This is a casual video of me tweaking and giving feedback to my students regarding the first follow-along drawing exercise. The current main topic is realism for beginners. This is a few clips from the video. To participate, check out the link in the description. Let's look at the side that's away from the light, the dark side. As you can see, the bottom part is a little bit messy. And notice as I'm doing that, I'm also getting rid of any trace of any outlines, as I'm making the tones more consistent in quality. All the principles is followed, so it looks very realistic. If I were to point out anything, I would say this part here, this shadow here doesn't make too much sense. Because the way he drew the cube is subtle, but it almost looks like this. You see a flat on top. This side is flat. But if you look at this side, because the way he shaded the top part is slightly darker than the rest, there's almost a shadow going on. So it feels like it has a lid that's a little bit wider, and it comes down like this. Alright, this one, I was hoping to find one that's like this one. It's pretty good, it's pretty much 80% away there. But notice how there are still lines. Because almost like if the cube is not perfect, the surface is not glass on glass, it's not perfect, there'll be a tiny bit of a line there for the shadow to come. Okay, this one was done digitally on the computer, so it was not done with the physical media. But of course, the same concept applies also. Notice how you have the white edges here, and then the white edges here, and then it goes to a darker shade, and then to the edge of here it goes white again. This creates the illusion of this. If I were to draw like a 3D line form, right? This creates an illusion that it goes downward, it goes flat, and then it goes upward again. And same thing with this side. You can see by some subtle shading differences, it creates like it's different illusions. Again, this is not necessarily an improvement, just to show you guys how a change of just slight shading can change something, the shape of something so drastically. Because of the simplicity nature of the exercise, I'm really just looking at whether you are using line by itself to define an edge. But yeah, it's pretty good. Even lighting wise, this one is not triangle lighting. It makes more sense from a single lighting source point of view. However vague they are, they distract from the realism. So as you can see, based on doing that, it suddenly looks a lot more realistic. I hope you agree. And of course you can make the edges a little bit sharper. The artist is going to be, it's basically like, okay, I'm not going to follow, I understand the concept, I'm going to apply it to a different cube with a different light source coming from a different direction, which is good. I encourage you to do that, but you still have to follow the basic concept that I talked about. So technically what you have here is what's called a bird's eye view. The horizon line should be at the point where those three lines meet if you want to construct it in a proper 3D space. But that's a whole other topic that we can talk about later. I can play around with this all day, but I think you guys got the idea. Good job, and I welcome you to, as long as you understand the concept, to just play around, try different angles, play different things. There's something that I gotta mention. This drawing here is done by a 9-year-old girl following my exercise under very little guidance from an adult. It's because this surface here is not smooth anymore. It has like kind of a shape to it, especially that's reinforced by this curve here. And when you do stuff like that, it tells you how tones and values and gradients change the fundamental shape of what we perceive something to be. And this is going to come very useful when you draw more complicated stuff later on, like a face. You see how I just made this part here, this part here. That's about it, and the background a little bit more smoother. Good. First of all, in terms of realism, you did everything you're supposed to do. I'm just talking a little bit about how gradient affects things. If I was following the light, the surface of this side that's facing you appears to us looks like this. It's not a straight, it's not a flat surface because of the way you shaded it. By the way, any of you ever have any, if you ever have any question in your life, ever, no, but if any of you have any questions regarding anything that I have talked about so far, just shoot me a message. For example, what would happen if there's a hole here, right? If there's a hole, let's say there's another square hole on there, given the way the light works. Notice how now it just suddenly looks realistic. Again, what is actually going on in here? It's just three shapes. Let's talk about it in terms of two-dimensional first. This same rule applies in three-dimensional as well. We look at just 2D now, but it applies into a cube. Now let's assume there's a light source that is roughly around here. Let's make it blue. Happy little blue light bulb. Now let's assume now we have another light source. And if I want to make the shadow a little bit more realistic, let's make this drawing black and white. Don't flatten. So the second shadow would end up looking like this. When you have two light sources, when placed properly, you can have like a triangle shaped shadow that's somewhere in the middle. So that's how that weird triangle shape is able to form. So based on a object's shadow, you can actually tell a lot about the environment, right? You can tell what kind of light source you're looking at. You can tell how many. Another exercise video. I want to do one that's based on sphere, not just a cube. So you work on a little bit on your gradient skills. So I might do that as a follow along exercise video too, before the next course video. For now, thanks for watching, and if you want to participate in the class and exercises, it's just a few dollars. Check the link in the description or on the screen. Cheers!